The first time I experienced a flow state, I didn't know the term. I didn't know what it was. And I was on a flight here from Austin going to SF. Next day, I was going to meet with my team. And I thought, oh, great, on the flight, it's a nonstop that Alaska runs. I will go into Figma with my rudimentary Figma skills and sort of hack together a version of this. And then tomorrow we can all poke at it and see if we like it. Get on the plane. Captain's like, sorry, kids, Wi-Fi's out. See you at SFO, right? We take off. I start, noodling around. 15, 20 minutes later, we're descending. I'm like, oh, problem with the aircraft. We're going to land in Dallas and they'll tell us, like, we have to swap aircraft because, hydraulic system or whatever. 2 hours and 40 minutes had gone by. I had no idea. And we were landing actually in SFO. My designs were done at the level which I wanted to do them. I was happy with them. And I didn't have any sense of like the drink cart had it come by. I don't really know. I didn't chat with the guy in the seat next to me. I was just kind of in the work. That turned into a night, which maybe you've had this, was not the grab a sandwich, go to my hotel room, try and finish the stuff before the morning and pass out. It was, I called a buddy and I was like, hey, AJ, I have a free night in SF. You want to have dinner? And it was really nice to be ahead of my day instead of chasing my day. There's a guy in my studio named Steven. Steven, why are you here? Right? Okay. So for those playing along in their car, listening at home, vacuuming at the gym, here's the reason to listen to today's episode of AJ's Pod, which is I'm one of the few people you'll meet who's been a senior executive at a couple motion picture studios, DreamWorks, Fox, and so, right? I've also raised over $20 million of venture, founded 3 companies, 1 to a successful exit, 2 to failure and embarrassment, where you learn a lot. In the course of doing that, I've been very fortunate to work with some real high performers, like top of their sort of game in screenwriting, directing, engineers, UI, UX designers, graphic designers, stuff like that. And you see over your 20s and 30s, who are the ones that are superstars that continue on to great careers, and who are the ones that, like, at 35, they're like, I just want to go to an apple orchard and quietly pick apples. I'm so burned out. I can't do this. I want to make wooden bicycles. Not a joke. A friend of mine did that. He's like a Facebook employee, like 140 or something. And he was just
Sounds right.
No tech. I want to make bicycles by hand. And I was like, I'm glad you cashed out your shares and you can do that. So that's a lot of what I share these days is how to be sustainable in your high performance, how to be healthier, how to get the best out of you. I know you had a great episode. I think it was a repeat visitor who was talking about product teams. He said, it's not the 10,000 hours of work. It's the it's the iterations, right?
Yeah.
And it is true. There are insights like that you get where it's like, there's a Malcolm Gladwell-esque kind of like fun soundbite to just say to everyone, like, oh, do your 10,000 steps and complete your ring. But the answer is usually more interesting and a little deeper than just that. And that's what I try to share, semi-articulately. I'm going to stay awake for this entire podcast, by the way. I promised myself I'm going to do that.
We're all staying awake for this. And that's
I've
great.
Got a 13-week-old baby. That's an achievement right now.
Oh, that is an achievement. Yes. Oh my God. I got the 2 dogs.
I haven't slept since like the 1940s. Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. I got the 2 dogs. So that's all I have to worry about.
Oh,
with that, thanks for kicking us off and welcome everybody to this episode of Facing Disruption. We're trying to have fun here. And that's just what we're going to do. Yeah.
We are
having fun.
Fun. Do not fun. Come on, Yoda.
Always fun. Fun. And today we're going to get into all of the topics that my wonderful co-host, partner in today's episode, Stephen Puri has mentioned about, and I definitely want to dig into some of those. Let's look behind the curtain of these things like, 10,000 hours. We're going to be talking about flow today, right? What's flow? You're
just tickling my sweet spot. I love talking about flow states. Okay, keep going. Yeah. It's going to be good.
And, everybody has these, like you said, little sound bites. Mm-hmm. And what I would love is let's get behind some of that and what does it actually mean? Because honestly, if you ask me, a lot of this superficial advice, that maybe I'm a little bit jaded in this, but it feels like they just want you on the treadmill of keep buying my book, right?
Oh
and
my
if you
God!
buy the next
don't
book.
Even start with me. I have friends where they got into that business. And one of my friends had the 64th most popular book on the Amazon catalog when it came out. It was a huge Marissa Mayer threw a party and read and everything. And I will tell you, when you have about 20 really pithy, helpful pages to share, and your publisher goes, listen, to justify $24.95, I need you to pad this out to 300 pages. Just throw in every stupid story and weird bit of research, because it has to weigh a certain amount to get $25 out of someone's pocket. You're like, okay, that's the business. I wanted to publish this book. Here we go. And yeah, I'm with you, man. Most of them could be a pamphlet, a rule-gay pamphlet.
It really could. And then that always stops me because I'm like, oh, I have these great things. I want to do a pamphlet. And I'm like, oh, can I do all of my stories? What was it in Seinfeld where he bought, Jay Peterman bought Kramer's stories because he had to pad out the book for his biography. I'm just buy other people's
Jay
stories.
Peterman catalog, though, was amazing. I remember the first time someone was like, hey, read this. I was like, who spends the time doing this? This is amazing.
It's amazing and it's fun. And we need more of that. And I feel what you were saying with your friend from Facebook who just went to it was an apple orchard, right?
No, bicycle. The friend I was talking
a
about.
bicycle. Right.
He's like, I'm not doing anything with the computer. I'm going to make bicycles. God bless.
It is unbelievable how many of my peers now post-COVID and everything, we were, high performer, ladder climbers, and now they just say, yeah, I'm going to go be a blacksmith.
Yeah.
I'm going to go open a wood shop. I don't want any notifications. I don't want to deal with human beings. I can't. And you're somebody who's done so much. So tell me your reflection on this.
Not only am I going to answer your question, but I'm going to pick up on something you said probably 45 seconds ago, which when you think about the Jay Peterman catalog, for those who don't know what it is, I'm not going to spend time explaining it. Go look it up. So when you do...
Links in the comments.
Exactly. Link in the comments. So when you do encounter something that is so beautifully handcrafted, as that prose, it gets your attention, especially now in a world of generative AI slop. So yes, you and I are recording this in a period of time when everybody and their grandma is like, AI, which they usually just mean LLMs, but they call it AI, right? AI, take up my jobs. No one's ever going to work again. Unless you're a plumber or electrician. And you got, Chamath and Sachs and Mark Andreessen out there saying like, oh yeah, train your kids to be plumbers because, we're basically just going to run a couple bots. It is more true than ever that when you understand the way LLMs work, which is, to put it very reductively, they're Google autocomplete on steroids, right? They're like, hey man, I looked at all the patterns of the stuff you guys have generated. When you say it looks blank out, it's a 62% chance you want rainy. It's a 13% chance you want sunny. I know the thing. So it's instead of just Google autocomplete saying, here's the next character you're about to type, it's like, here's the next word or thought, or I can organize these into, you like paragraphs? Can I give you a paragraph? You want bullets? Give you bullets, right? So it is flooding the world with that kind of content. So on one hand, you go, oh my God, do I need my accountant? Because it is incredibly repetitious, detail-oriented. You know what? You might not need your accountant a lot, or your accountant may leverage AI to do a lot more returns on his or her own. But hopefully you do understand that there's a level of creativity, even with something as boring as, tax planning, estate planning, or, kind of accounting work, that when you really understand the way the tax code is being crafted by people, that you then understand how to navigate it. And sometimes it's a little more nuanced than simply the LLM saying, oh, I understand. Field 42 is the sum of fields 39 and 41. Okay, I got it. It's like you kind of learn that stuff. So this long rambling opening, which I'm giving, and you can cut down to 5 words if you want, but maybe you won't, is really about, okay, so maybe the thing that we do appreciate, maybe the jobs that are available to us are the ones that are supremely about that human touch. I don't really need every answer to be human. No, there are a lot of answers in LLMs. They're perfect. It's perfectly suited. But do I want like The Sun Also Rises written by an LLM? It probably will not have the same nuance as what Hemingway wrote. It was Hemingway, right? Was it Picasso? Was it Einstein? I can never remember. Someone. Right?
I don't think it was Einstein. I can't remember.
Your memory's so good.
I like my memory is all offloaded into my notebooks.
I'm glad you identified it wasn't Einstein. Plausible could have been Picasso. I don't know. We'll Google it later, right?
We'll have an LLM give us that. But I like what you're saying, the creativity side. And that's an interesting point because, yes, AI, LLMs. LLMs are going to take over a lot of the repetitive tasks, the things that can be automated.
Period, full stop. Totally right.
But there always is a nuance. And when I hear people talking about there's not going to be any jobs, Mark Andreessen has his own thing. He wants to be the trillionaire, right? He wants you to think there's no jobs. But the reality is, okay, I've been doing a ton of vibe coding and now give vibe coding seminars. I can't stop, right? And one of the things I get into kind of battles with other engineers, and I used to be an engineer for a long time, where they say, oh, there's limits. I'm like, show me the limits, right? And what I realize is if you're an engineer and you think your job is to code, then you don't know what your job is.
Right?
Because your job wasn't to write code.
Historically, it may have been, but if that's what you're thinking you're going to be doing tomorrow, you're going to be sadly mistaken. Yeah.
So the same with the tax attorney, right? If you think that your job is filing the forms, that's not your job. Your job is the creativity, right?
Right. Your job is saying there's a new trust we could set up in the Cayman Islands for you.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Mark Andreessen rubs his little hands together. He's like, excellent.
Yeah. But that's where we're going with this, right? That's why I keep saying AI is going to benefit the people with the most experience. And that worries me. Because how do you get the experience in a world where there's no progression plan?
Yeah. That's a
whole other topic.
Yeah. It is a fantastic thing to talk about. And there are very smart people that you will have on and have had on to talk about it. I would love for us to focus on, okay, I as a human have some need to realize the greatness inside me. And what are my tools to do that now? Because, I mean, let us just be super clear. It's not just LLMs that are scary, right? Right now, as you and I record this, I know that this will air probably in 2030 or something, but right now as we record this, like there's a trial going on about how addictive social media is, and like Zuck's testifying, like they're getting, like everybody's there. And when you consider that some of the largest companies on earth, their business model is simply steal your life, period, full stop. You know, in 10 years ago, they were kind of embarrassed about it. Like Zuck would be called to Congress about some awful Cambridge Analytica thing or whatever. And, you know, he'd kind of like sheepishly go, oh, Congressman, you know, Facebook is just here so grandmothers can see their grandkids' videos. And he'd, you know, do that little smile. And now there is no shame that they feel. Like you listen to the shareholders' calls. It is straight up, hey, man, we are using our money to buy the best engineers, designers, behavioral economists, casino game designers to deploy these techniques to steal everyone's lives. And by the way, we call it shareholder value. And next quarter, we are going to use them to deploy these new techniques to create more shareholder value. And it is abstract to think of it that way, which is what's happening, but it's not abstract. If you imagine like Zuckerberg calling you up and just going, hey man, AJ, can I have your life? And I'm going to sell it to these advertisers and I'll keep the money, but I'm going to give you some dancing cat videos, dude. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Is that good? Is that a good trade for your life? Because he absolutely wants another 450-foot yacht. And that means you need to wake up 80 years old, scrolling and double tapping on the sofa, talking about how you could have written that app. You could have written that book. You could have opened that restaurant. You could have done whatever. But why is that criminal? Because on a certain level, if you're like, actually, I just love scrolling and double tapping. Okay, cool. I personally have a thesis that we all have something great inside us. It's why I do what I do for a living. I create an app so people can release that as a tool to go, hey man, block the shit out, help me do something great. Because, there's that great quote about the graveyards are full of greatness. People who just never released it. They never wrote the great American novel. They never wrote, The Sun Also Rises. And that to me is really, really sad, because when we talk about, oh, wow, this is scary times, we're trying to adjust. Like, how does the internet change everything? How do typewriters change everything? How does the printing press? How does electricity? Like, there's some like revolutionary technologies where you go, okay, everything's got to change a bunch, my sons and I are not going to be tilling the fields. We might be going into this factory and go work, like eventually it stabilizes. We hope it will with this technological disruption too. I mean, you want to talk about facing disruption. So here we are. So looking at this one, you say, well, if everything's being disrupted, but I want to hold on to my belief that I have some value, I'm going to create some greatness in the world that is inchoate. It is in me. Then, you need to do the things that LLMs don't do well. And that is, LLMs will never create, well, not never. Let me say, LLMs in generative AI right now do not understand the nuance of like why Guernica is different than 300 weird copies of it. And yes, they're very good at folding proteins and saying like, hey man, maybe if the protein folded this way, then the RNA would replicate this way. And you're like, oh shit, I think we have a new drug. Like, that's awesome. That's really great. I don't know if that's nuanced in the way we're talking about, but you're talking about, hey, I think I could create like the next version of whatever it is you use. Like, I have a way of changing the way our brains interact with this bit of information to do something great. Like, do it, man. Don't die with it inside you. Anyway, I'm off the soapbox. I'm back with you. Okay, here we go.
No, I love that, because I like to think right now is both the best and worst time to be a creative entrepreneur, because our ability to act has been democratized to the point where, absolutely, you should sit down and do it.
Look at you with Lovable and Replit. I mean, like, you're doing, like, those are huge levers with which you can move the world. I'm not saying those are the best products. I've tried Lovable. I ended up with a lot of shit code, but maybe that's just me. But like, those are levers, and there are fantastic levers now to go like, lever long enough, you can lift the world. Is that Archimedes?
You can literally will your visions into existence in a lot of ways that we couldn't do before. And AI is really great at following those instructions. It's interesting. I want to tie back what you said about AI being great at folding proteins and the 10,000 hour versus iterating, right? There was a joke. I'm going to mess up this joke. I heard it years ago.
This still about the goes in the bar?
No. This was, what do you call an engineer that makes 5,000 mistakes a day?
A slow engineer?
Fired?
Oh, okay.
What do you call an algorithm that makes 500 mistakes a day? Or sorry, 500,000 mistakes a day?
LLM.
AI.
AI. Right. Yeah. Okay.
AI. Right. That's so. My point of that is the AI great at protein folding, or is it great at the iteration? Right. And I think that is something that we, as creative professionals, I see this a lot between like the great creatives versus the creatives I've struggled to work with, is the willingness to iterate in wild ways. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you need to step back, and whatever you think this is what the rules are in perfection, it's like, you need to put that away, and you need to just give me a bunch of iterations where we can experiment.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for a lot of people.
Let me tell you this. The one of the patterns that I thought was interesting, and this was both, especially with screenwriters in Hollywood, somewhat with directors, but definitely with screenwriters, and then also with designers, with UI or interface designers, right? Was that at the top of the field, and I can speak more reliably about film because I spent longer in film than I've spent in tech, right? But I've seen it in both, is that at the top of this field, you do have two dozen, let's say, people who are actually from first principles inventing the future, like coming up with stuff. Like, so in film, that is writers who write from an understanding of character. Now, in film, you have 3,000 other action writers who are working writers, writing on Hercules, the series, and writing on, Mission Impossible 19 or whatever. And they're working writers. But what's interesting is when you work with them, very often you realize that they are writing from scenes of other movies that they've seen. Because they've seen a lot of movies. Some of them have dedicated, they love film, but you're reading it and you're like, oh, so this is sort of that scene from The Equalizer, but he does it with the girl. Okay, this is sort of that Jack Reacher thing. Oh, he's redoing Star Wars 4 New Hope, but doing it this way. Even like with the Top Gun Maverick, like Chris McQuarrie, whom I worked with, he wrote the Wolverine for me, right? He's a wonderful guy. But let's be honest, like you saw Maverick and you're like, this is almost beat for beat Star Wars 4, the first one that Lucas got made, that he made. And you're like, okay, let's go try and throw 2 photon torpedoes down the little trap hole after he goes through the canyon with the thing, and it's going to blow everything up. And oh, great. Okay, so the Death Star is underground in this movie, right? So there's a lot of that you see where you encounter writers where you're like, oh, you're writing based on the next scene should be that one from Die Hard 2, as opposed to somebody goes, let me tell you deeply how AJ was screwed over as a child, and he is still trying to heal that wound, and it is going to come out, and I've got an antagonist who knows exactly where to stick the dagger into that wound. Now, let's watch and see, does AJ overcome that wound or not? Will this be a successful action movie, or will this become a tragedy, right? And that same thing with interface designers. It's like, well, it kind of feels like you're trying to do Instagram, there's a thing about being familiar to new users. Intuitive, when users give you feedback that it's intuitive, it usually means it's familiar. Well, it's sort of like how I use, and then there's that thing where it's not just familiar, but it moves it forward. It's like, oh, this is because someone understood the first principles of why Instagram did that. And maybe they're like, well, of course, this is built with Mike and Kevin's DNA back when you didn't really have the ability of phone to do this. So the foundation of the house, no matter how much Zuck and Adam and all the guys try and change it, it's still in the DNA that it was kind of built this way. But imagine this, right? Imagine Instagram built for VR or something where you just go, oh, or AR. So I say that because that's where you sort of say, I can differentiate myself. I understand the first principles to create the new interface, to create the new book, the new painting, the new screenplay that is rooted in human truth, but is not just a copy of other people who've tried to write their version of human truth.
Yeah. But I would imagine that having the bravery to try something completely new, because I would imagine that a lot of these writers are also very much concerned on, is their movie going to be a hit? And what do people want? They want people tend to want the things that they've seen before sometimes. So they just copy it to say, okay, maybe we could piggyback off of the success of something else because I need to put food on the table.
I'm going to say yes and.
Yeah.
I don't want to negate what you're saying. There are some, I know you were asking about screenwriters, right? So there are some screenwriters who, you're right, are very pragmatic, and they're like, hey man, no matter what you tell me your studio wants, I know your studio just does mashups, so I wrote you a new version of Alien versus Predator. It's sort of like a fatalistic, pragmatic thing of you're not looking for a new franchise, you say it, but you actually are going to greenlight Alien versus Predator 9, right? Okay, so I acknowledge that, you're right about that. Here is the, you want to do that to peel back the layer thing, right? So when film became this casino of really big bets. It wasn't like, hey man, we're making these little fun movies at Warner Brothers. We have some actors on staff, and we have some, guys we pay on payroll, and directors that are, here. They're making a movie every 4 weeks, right? It became like, oh, you need $150 million. That is not an inconsequential bet. And if that screws up, that shows up in shareholder calls, annual reports, stuff like that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you get to that era, you were right on this level. Studios were at some point run by more creative types, even if they were back in the Louis B. Mayer, like Jack Warner era, where it's not like they were creative types because there was no film before them, like they were the first ones, but they kind of invented it and they were the creators of this medium along with the people they hired, right? But then you get later, and once it becomes a game of accounting and risk management and legal stuff, like you look at the studios, and a lot of them are being run by guys mainly, except for like Amy and Stacy, Sherry, but let's just say people who came up, who were not filmmakers, who were not writers, who were not creative types. They were marketing people, or they were accountants, or they were attorneys. And yeah, when they're telling you, hey man, listen, like I left Fox after a conversation with my boss. I mean, it took a year to get out of my contract, but essentially for me, the moment where I was like, oh, this is not right, was he said an absolutely reasonable thing. Absolutely, you couldn't argue with him, right? He doubled my salary to leave DreamWorks. And he said, if you come, I'll give you the Die Hard franchise. I bet you grew up watching the Die Hard movies. I was like, I did. He's like, you will be the executive making the next one. Do you want to be running the Wolverine franchise? I'll give you the Wolverine. And I was like, how do you say no to this? Even though people tell me not great things about him, I was like, dude, I'll make the next Die Hard movie. This is kind of cool, right? Stupid me. So
Christmas miracle.
Yeah, I know. So he was very emphatic about, you have these great relationships at DreamWorks. So with Billy Ray, Alex Kurtzman, Bob Orsi, Damon Lindelof, Chris McQuarrie, like David Ayer. Like, he's like, we have a bunch of money now because we're making the Avatar movies and they're making money, right? So they don't necessarily want to work here because we don't have the best reputation of working with creative talent, right? We're run by News Corp. And it says it all. But if you come here, I have money. I'll give you a checkbook. Find some ways to get your friends working here because I want to get more talented writers and directors here, right? And I will tell you, to his credit, he did that. When I was like, yeah, we need 1.25 for this guy to write and direct this thing. We need $1 million for this year. He was like, okay, cool, we're doing this. Here's the funny thing. After over a year there, where in that period of time, I had developed some original films. Like, you want to swing for the fences? Here's some stuff these guys are dying to write. We would be talking about them in the weekly packaging meeting, which is basically the two chairmen and us, the senior executives, like 6 or 8 of us, and a marketing executive. And I would bring up stuff that I was working on. Is like the level of disinterest on his part was palpable. It was just like, yeah, and he's thinking about his lunch, and he's just waiting for me to get on to the next thing. And then, regardless, at the end, he would ask me about that next iteration of Die Hard. It was the worst script I had. I had inherited a writer. It's super fun if you want to, like, coke and whores and parties, like, super fun dude, right? After I left film, found out he got kicked out of the Writers Guild for plagiarism, right? So I've got this contract that I walk into with this guy where he has 2 more steps to deliver, like 2 more drafts to deliver, and you paid him. Like, you got to let him do it. So he would always ask me about this. He's like, how's the hire coming? And it's just like, we're just going to get these next steps done, and then we're going to hire someone who's really going to make this great. Finally, one packaging meeting, I just had it, and we left, and I was like, can I walk you to your office? So we had private time, like there's the 2 of us, not like the 8 people.
Yeah.
And I just walked about the office, and I said, I'm failing you. Like, you wanted me to come here and bring you X, Y, Z, writers and directors. I have them all working here, right? They're preparing to make, they're writing scripts for us. And those seem disinteresting. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because the only thing you want to talk about is the worst thing on my slate. And he said, totally honestly, he said, listen, I can tell you right now that end of the hall are essentially my quants, my accountants. And we have the projections. Like, if you put out a 1 sheet, which is the vertical poster, it says Die Hard on it, those 2 words, it will make $70 million by Sunday night. So as long as you make it for less than 70, I kind of don't care if it's good or not. I keep my job. I've been here 14 years. I'm not going to lose my job because you want to make great films. And I was like, 1, I have to get the hell out of here. 2, that was one of the most honest things he ever said. For a guy who's not known as being honest, he was just like straight up like,
that's really honest.
Here's the deal. And he was an attorney. That's the thing, is he views himself as a creative type. He was an attorney who rose up through the ranks and just was very well equipped for the Hollywood game. And God bless.
Do you think that that's representative of a wider trend? And I'm sure every generation says this, so we're going to say it. Basically regressing to the mean, right? We're not going to take risks. We're going to put out lukewarm stuff. And I swear we're going to relate this back to the social media addiction, because I can see the links there.
Yep. I think the most interesting part of being a vampire is not the blood sucking or the sexy part or whatever. It is, man, if you could watch like the rise and fall of people, companies, nations, civilizations, if you were around for 300 or 400 years and you actually could compare how one was different from the other, as opposed to, like you said, does every teenager think their parents are stupid? Does every parent think like this generation a bunch of idiots that were raised? You know, it's kind of like, if you'd been around for 300 years, would you actually say, no, kids are getting stupider? We are getting, you know, our art is getting worse and worse and worse. Or would you be like, everybody gets to 35 and, you know, they think everything's, you know, dumb and it should be their way. And, you know, like, it just happens. So I don't know the answer to that. But if I become a vampire, AJ, I'm going to ring you up and let you know.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting, because that is one of the things with, like, AI is trained on all of the stuff we've already created, right? So if you remove the creative human element as the operator of this, you just get the most mundane, this is passable, this is great, okay, because that's just what was bubbled up to the top in his training. And
hold on, I have a question.
That's what I worry. Yeah.
With the social media apps that Zuck and I think ByteDance or whatever the new ByteDance is are planning or have released, where it's just a feed that looks like social media, but it is essentially not social and it's not made by people. It's just AI. It's a feed of AI stuff.
Yeah.
No joking. Like, would that be interesting to you? That'd be something you're like, yeah, if I knew it was just a stream of AI videos, but it was stuff I was interested in, I'd watch it. I don't really care if it's being made by humans.
That's a great question, because I will ask a question back. Are we watching it because we're interested in it, or because it pulls our emotional strings? Right? That, like, with social media being an addiction, I think it's worse than an addiction, because it's not just a feed of you're scrolling through and seeing someone's cute cat and cute this. They know what makes you stay, and they know what triggers you to keep you on, and they will promote stuff even if you don't want it to keep you on. So this is way worse, because, you know, you mentioned the printing press, and, you know, and like there's always all these distractions, and there was always an opportunity for you to go and escape the world. But you had to do that. And that was a choice that you could pull away. And if you said, today, I'll use books, you know, the pusher of books, if the librarian wasn't there at home to push a book in your face, you wouldn't read, right? Yeah. Okay, great. You didn't read in every part of the world. You kind of don't have that opportunity anymore, because your phone is going to shoot you notifications. Hey, check me, even if you turned it off. There'll be a billboard, check me. They're like,
correcto.
You don't have the autonomy over your decision anymore. And that's why I think
it does reveal
bad.
It does reveal deeply what you're interested in once everything is A/B tested a billion times over. And, you know, you bring up Gutenberg. It is often whitewashed that he made most of his money not printing Bibles, which is what we're all on, the Gutenberg Bible. He made most of his money printing body woodcuts, which would be the, you know, version today of, like, he printed Maxim magazine or Playboy or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's how he made his money. The prurient interest there is pretty clear. It's like he knew what sold. Right?
Yeah.
So when you think about that now, and this, you can cut this part out if you want, because this is going to get a little bit into politics. But if you look at social media now and what you said, which is, yes, all of the signals you give, not just the obvious ones like, oh, yeah, I liked that video, but stuff like, what was your scrolling speed as you moved past that? Did you pause? Like, things like that are absolutely being recorded and being analyzed. And And it's not that they're wrong. The analysis is correct. They're going, oh, like, for example, if you slow your scroll when something in your viewport, something being rendered on your screen has anything about a particular illness, it's statistically probable that you or an immediate family member have it. So if high cholesterol or diabetes, something goes by, you just slow, you don't tap it, you don't comment, you just slow. That gets recorded as, oh, okay, AJ's probably got high cholesterol or some family member. Note that down, because that's going to be great when we sell that to an insurance company. Right? So here's where it gets darker. And I know with social media, it can get dark very quickly. So in the Valley, there became this awareness of this field of mimetics, which is basically based on the same root as to mime, right? Which is, we learn what we should desire by seeing what others desire. So with social media, like Instagram was like hanging up this. So now you have other ones that are popular. But Instagram was really great at this, of saying like, let me reflect back at you these fake versions people are creating of their lives, because you should want to be posing in front of your Lambo. If you don't have one, AJ, like, you're doing something, you're bad. You're a bad person, man. You should be posting your beautiful espresso from your first class seat in the Emirates A380. Is that not your life? Because you should want this, because you're seeing it in your feed. And maybe it's true. Steven saw a Lambo on the street when posed in front of it and was like, just got my new wheels, whatever. And it's not my car. And we know that's true of a lot of the Instagram, a lot of the social media content. But the thing is, it went in you and created, I think, an incredible loop of, I don't have enough. God damn those people who do. I envy them. I hate them. I'm angry about them. And we rose up to support a man who understood exactly how to tap into envy and hatred. And there's this big debate in the United States. And should you ever come here, I'll host you, by the way. I'm kidding. But there's a big debate here about, are we really a company united by love or by hate? And there's like that Bad Bunny thing down at the Super Bowl, just like, love is stronger than hate. Hate's pretty strong. And I got to tell you, social media, they figured out that you will stay longer in their app, meaning they can make more ad money off you for time on site, time in app, by showing you stuff that angers you than stuff you love. And that, I think, led to this presidency.
I just had another conversation on exactly that, because I was saying, why don't we have TikTok for all pleasant things? And they said, yeah, we did. It failed. We had multiple of them. Nobody wants to be on it. That is also, I would argue, an addiction to dopamine and adrenaline and the chemical reaction that you have. This is like, I am angry. And now, there's a feeling of elation, like I'm alive because I'm angry.
Have you been on Twitter recently? Have you been on Reddit?
No, I don't go. I try not to.
Okay, that's great for
me. I really try not to.
If I'm reading like some article and they're like, link here or whatever, I click it and it's X, Twitter. Invariably, it is something where the people, the lack of human civility and how people deal with each other as platforms and the desire to spew hatred, it's astounding. Like, I have a 13-week-old downstairs, and more than any point in my life, I've thought about, what is the world going to be like in 50 years? I will not be here, but I know there's a generation that I'm contributing to. What are we doing? How do we undo the things that we hopefully collectively decide are not really good for us? I don't want to live in a world where it's this sort of sense of being inundated with people posting videos of people having fist fights on airplanes and, what?
This is if I were to say, what could be one of the infinite possibilities of AI coming out? And you mentioned your shorts feed full of AI, right? One, I don't know if we're going to get here. I don't know what it's going to take for this to be our future. But what if so much AI is out there and people lose so much trust in it, and they realize, hey, all of this is fake and these are all bots. These aren't even human. I'm going to go outside. Like, could it be the downfall of all of this just because everybody loses faith in it? I don't know. That'd be wonderful. I don't know what it'll take
I had
to
a
get to
question
that.
for you.
Yeah.
So you're dead. People remember one thing about you. What do you want that one thing to be?
I think my excitement that I bring to people.
Yeah.
That's it.
You do have
I
that,
don't need
yeah.
much. Yeah. I don't need much else.
Mhm.
How about you?
Your excitement.
My excitement. Yeah.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
about, well,
yeah.
no, how about you? Oh, you want my excitement. Yeah. I
That
hope-
was a joke. That was a
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I hope that when I'm gone, the one thing people remember is, man, he worked really hard to help people do the thing that they're capable of, to help release their greatness.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Talk about the work that you're doing to help people release their greatness.
Well, we've talked about the difficult forces. Like when you think about there's you trying to do something with your life, there's a tug of war. And on one side, you have, the companies we talked about, these trillion-dollar companies with the smartest people on earth earning the biggest paychecks. On the other side of that tug of war rope is you. Pretty hard contest, So you need allies. When you think about, let's just set the table for a moment about flow states, which is I'm very passionate. When I discovered this, the first thing I thought was, man, why didn't someone tell me back in college? Like there was this way I could work kind of faster and feel better and do really good work. Like, why did I grind when I could have been doing this if I understood the practice of this, So when I discovered yoga, I was like, oh, I'm fit and I also feel limber. I don't feel like I'm getting fit and tighter. It was I think I'm oh, this is cool. So flow states, which, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, Hungarian-American psychologist, he's the one who came up with this. He started from a thesis. He's like, you talk to high performers in different disciplines, and they often talk about the highly concentrated states they get into where they do amazing stuff in very similar ways, which is weird because some of them are athletes, some are artists, some are scientists, some are inventors, So he did the research and he wrote the book Flow. He said, I chose this word because it was the most beautiful metaphor for what I found, which is when you talk to these people, you realize we are all on the river paddling to move ourselves forward. Mm-hmm. But if you align your boat with the current, it carries you, it magnifies your efforts. And that's what they do. And that's an amazing thing that he did. And of course, now we have got brilliant guys like Kotler and Cal and Near and that have, built on that and said, let me research this for a number of years. And how does music work and distraction? So when we think about that tug of war where you're going, no, man, I have a great tech company to create, a great restaurant to open, a great book to write, whatever it is, you have your greatness to release. And you were saying, what are the tools? What are the allies I have in this? So I don't just end up 80 years old, grumpy, and telling people how I could have been somebody, right? So this is really the genesis of Suka, which is the website we built, which is a flow state website. And it's what I'm passionate about. I don't collect a paycheck. Tony and I built this for free. We don't collect any money from it. We just try and make it better each day in our time to improve it, which is, hey man, if you look at the research, there are certain things you can do to get into flow. Often certain kinds of music helps, like Brain FM, Endel, they've made entire apps just around, hey man, music like this could let your brain relax into this state. There are wonderful distraction blockers, Freedom, Cold Turkey, Brick Your Phone, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, not the end of the day. At the start of the day, when I want to get working, I'm not going to open up 5 apps, a music app and a timer, a Pomodoro timer and a thing. I was just I just want to have one button right in the center of my screen. That's all I want. And when I hit that button, it tracks my task. It plays beautiful music or sound. A lot of people in our platform love rain. That became a popular playlist. I was like, oh, cool. There's a community there. There's a smart assistant that helps you get on your phone, and your smart assistant's like, hey, Jay, I see you on your phone. Is it helping you? And then you just get that moment as an adult to say, who do I want to be? Do I want to be the guy who's done it 3, like playing with his kids or going windsurfing? Or do I want to be the guy at 6 o'clock that's like, where did the day go? Oh man, I was busy. You know what I mean? Like, we don't lock stuff away for you. Rather, we say, you're an adult, you're a high performer. If you're here, you're a high performer. And sometimes all of us need that little friend next to us who just goes, hey man, I see you open Reddit. It's not going to be a minute or two. You're going to spend 30 minutes in there, and that's going to blow the end of your day, right? So that's really what I'm passionate about. I was saying, like, how do we get you in a state of flow, beautiful music, and like all the things that block distractions, keep you there. And at the end, we give you a whole graph. You can see exactly your session every 5-minute increment. What did you do? Were you like distracted? Oh, I opened YouTube, I lost 100 points. Like, oh, I opened Facebook, well, lost 200 points. Or did you finish your tasks like on time? Like, you get more points if you time box well. And I know this is a long answer. I'm sorry for that. I'll wrap it up. But just that concept of saying, hey, what are the important things, the time-tested, generally accepted productivity principles? You should time block. You should time box.
Yeah.
If you finished your task around the time you estimated, good job. You're getting a sense of how long things take. You get more points for that. And we're like, you should be able to look back on your session every day and go, okay, this helps me get 1% better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That's what we set out to do for the people who want that. A lot of people will never come to Suka, but the ones who are like, dude, I have 4 hours of work to do. If I can do it in 2 and feel good, hell yeah, let me try. That's what we do.
Yeah. So I like what you said, and I want to bridge the two for the people who aren't familiar with flow, right? Because you kind of got the 10,000 foot view of aligning your boat with the river, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got the 10-foot view of I can complete my task without distraction.
Yep.
Right. And there's a middle part in there that people like, okay, is flow just meaning that I can work more? Is it mean I can work productive, or is this something else? Like, what is that thing that I'm trying to get to?
Thank you. You're right. I'm so inside my own echo chamber. You're right. That is a great thing to clarify. So I'll clarify with a short story, which is the first time I experienced a flow state. I didn't know the term. I didn't know what it was. And I was on a flight here from Austin going to SF. Next day, I was going to meet with my team. And I thought, oh, great. On the flight, it's a nonstop that Alaska runs. I will go into Figma with my rudimentary Figma skills and sort of hack together a version of this. And then tomorrow we can all poke at it and see if we like it. Get on the plane. Captain's like, sorry, kids, Wi-Fi's out. See you at SFO, right? We take off. I start, noodling around. 15, 20 minutes later, we're descending. I'm like, oh, problem with the aircraft. We're going to land in Dallas, and they'll tell us, like, we have to swap aircraft because, hydraulic system or whatever. 2 hours and 40 minutes had gone by. I had no idea. And we were landing, actually, in SFO. My designs were done at the level which I wanted to do them. I was happy with them. And I didn't have any sense of, like, the drink cart had it come by. I don't really know. I didn't chat with the guy in the seat next to me. I was just kind of in the work. That turned into a night, which maybe you've had this, was not the grab a sandwich, go to my hotel room, try and finish the stuff before the morning and pass out. It was, I called a buddy and I was like, hey, AJ, I have a free night in SF. You want to have dinner? It was really nice to be ahead of my day instead of chasing my day. Later, after reading what all these smart people have written about this, I was like, oh, so a flow state has these characteristics Mihai talks about. He's like, time falls away. Check, that happened for me. I was not watching the clock. I was just, he's like, you kind of become one with the work. You do your best work in usually a compressed amount of time. Distractions are easier to block. They just kind of follow. They're uninteresting. These are deep in it. And at the end, you can feel a sense of uplift or joy as opposed to depletion. So to answer your question directly, with that said, yes, it's absolutely oh man, I can do good work faster. It's absolutely I'm fine taking the amount of time that I have, but I want to go deeper than I normally would. And it's absolutely I just want to look up at 3 o'clock and not want to take a nap. I'd like to look up and go, that was awesome. Okay, you know what? Let's go play with my kids, which is what I'm going to do after this podcast, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's perfect because that's exactly what I was looking for. And
good.
Yeah, I've been living that example that you gave for the past 3 months, writing the platform that I'm building that I sent you the link, because I go to sleep at 3 a.m. and I'm up at like 7 a.m. And I'm like,
Dude.
I'm building in my head. It's just so exciting.
Yeah.
It makes me think of the...
Don't burn out. Don't burn out, AJ.
Yeah, don't burn out. Don't burn out. It makes me think of the concept of Ikigai.
Yeah.
Right? Where the things you're good at, the things you enjoy, the tools in your toolkit, it's like everything aligns.
You're in the sweet spot of, where those
You're in the
intersect.
sweet spot.
Yeah.
And I think that...
It imbues what you do with meaning,
Yeah. And I think that's the key for listeners who are still grappling with what is flow. It's the sweet spot. It's you're at the right place at the right time, thinking about the things that you are good at, that you enjoy, and you can push forward. And you're right. It's like once you get into that, distractions are easier to get over. So, are we moving to a world where we're experiencing less flow? I guess I'm making an assumption here is that as a world we're experiencing less flow. Maybe not.
You know what? I don't want to talk about
that.
things that I don't have a
Yeah.
concrete answer to. I don't know how the quantity of flow states has changed over time. I don't know that. What I do know is there has been a surge of interest starting somewhere after the pandemic, like pandemic era to now, past 3-ish years, in this. And it's why I get asked to talk very frequently. It's why, people come and are talking about like mental health, like sustainable productivity, that sort of thing. And I think it's great. Is it a renaissance? We're going deeper into that? I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly I hope it's the people who are like, I have something to do. Like I have meaning. I want to get it out of me. That they find the right tool, whether it is the one that we built or continue to build, or it's any tool. Like if that old, I think the Bresson, whoever has said, the best camera is the one in your hand. And it's just find that tool that allows you to write the book, create the app, do whatever, and do it. Be the guy or the girl that says you did it, not the one who's talks about like what's holding you back.
I think that's so important. And I think that's a great way, because we could go on for hours. I think we need to break it up, because burnout, that's a huge topic that deserves its own episode. How do we find you? How do we find your app? How do people learn more about flow?
Yeah. Number one, if anyone has a question, it doesn't have to do with Suka, but if they're just like, hey man, you talked about Cal. Who's Cal? What can I read? I'm happy to respond to your email. My email is very public. It's Steven, Steven, at thesuka, THESUKHA.co for company. Send me a question. I'll send a response. I will not write you back the history of my life. It's not that interesting, and I don't have time to do it, nor do you want to read it, right? But I will say, here's a great blog post about Near. You should read about distractions. This will help you, right? And if someone has something to do, like you have to have a task. To be in flow, it's not a 15-minute thing. It's say, I have an hour or two worth of work. I need to go write this blog post or design this feature. If you have something like that and you're like, I would love to see what that feels like to do in flow, a real task, go to our website. It's free for 3 days. Like, there's no downside. Just try it out. Hit play. Choose the playlist that works for you. Lo-fi, upbeat, down-tempo, rain, like coffee shop sounds, whatever it is. Say hi in the group chat.
Metal.
See what other people, heavy metal. Yeah, just get into that flow state and then tell me after an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, when you look up, if you go, oh shit, I feel in charge of my life. Like I'm not chasing my day. I'm ahead of it. And that's a great feeling. And I want everyone to have that, however they do it.
Yeah, I think that's so important to at least get there once, so you know what there looks like. And I love that you're helping people to get there. This is what any coach and instructor, like their job is to help you get to the place you don't know.
Bingo.
So we'll drop links in. This has been a great conversation. I hope everybody liked it. I'm going to get some flack from my producer because I did not say like and subscribe way in the beginning, but I'm saying it now.
Say it now, exactly. Thank you. Everyone's listening. You should be subscribing. What are you doing? Don't be an idiot.
Yeah. And I'm glad you made it this far into the episode listening to it. That's wonderful on its own. Thanks again. Go play with your kids. Enjoy. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you, AJ. Thanks to everyone who's listening.
Take care.